So today we're going to have some straight talk with some rug cleaning experts. And we have three experts here with us today. And we're going to give them each 30 seconds to tell us who they are, where they're from, what they do, and that kind of stuff. Only 30 seconds. Tom Monahan, go.
Well, thank you for having me here, Jeff. I started in the textile cleaning in 1977 with carpet cleaning, upholstery cleaning, did water damage, fire damage, got into rugs later on, not very seriously until about year 2005 or so. Then that branched in and morphed into equipment manufacturing that started in 2007 with Centrum Force, and that's what I'm currently doing.
Nice. How about you, Randy?
My name's Randy Hyde. I'm from Portland, Oregon. My business is Renaissance Rug Cleaning. I've been in the rug cleaning industry for about a little over 30 years. I started with a company called the Tia Brothers in Portland, Oregon. I worked for James Opie, who was an importer and retailer here locally. And then in 1990, I started Renaissance Rug Cleaning. Kind of an odd business in that I actually started my business as a rug cleaning business. I wasn't a carpet cleaner that got into rug cleaning. So that's
that's backwards, I guess, for a lot of companies.
That's me, backwards.
Well, welcome, Randy. And then we have Robert.
My name is Robert Mann. The company is called Robert Mann Rugs, and we're located in Denver, Colorado. In 1978, an Iranian guy asked me if I wanted to be an apprentice and learn how to restore rugs, to become a reweaver and a sewer, which I did. And over the course of the next year or so, we contacted one or two local wash plants in Denver and said to them, would you give us a wholesale rate? Could we subcontract our cleaning to you? Well, they threw me out of the building when I went and asked that question. So I went to the library, started reading, and began washing rugs in the bathtub, and I've been doing it, not quite there, but ever since.
All right, so we've got some colorful backgrounds and some colorful people, and even some area rugs hanging behind you there. So what we want to talk about today, whether this is a single segment of Straight Talk or we break this up depending on how long it goes, is how to help people to become successful in the rug cleaning industry. So we have some questions here for you guys, and just chime in and get through these and share some great advice to the industry. The first one I have for you is this. What do you see rug cleaning companies or operations not doing when they start up?
We want to go from the top. You want to start?
Doesn't matter. Go ahead, Randy. You started talking first, so.
Okay. I would say one of the things is organization. I do a fair amount of wholesale cleaning work with other companies, and you'd be surprised. These guys will get into rug cleaning, or they'll start taking in rugs, and they don't think about how they're going to keep track of their clients' inventory. So tagging rugs. I'd say at least 5-6 times a year, I'll have a company contact me and say, do you still have that rug we sent to cleaning up to have you cleaned 6 months ago? Well, of course we don't. And we keep records and track the movement of rugs to our facility. So first thing's organization. And that spills over, not just with rugs, but your accounting and your advertising, all that stuff. But I would say it's really important to organize those things in a business. And then the other thing I would throw in is don't treat your rug cleaning business like it's part of your carpet cleaning business, because it's different.
I agree with that.
Good.
Yeah.
I would say sometimes it's the glamour of getting into the rug cleaning business that blinds people to what kind of skill set they need, what kind of space they need to allocate if they're doing it at their own premise. And then similarly, to give consideration to marketing, because you got to keep the pipeline full so that it justifies your existence.
Nice. Good comments and advice. Robert, anything to add?
Sure. Yeah, I had no idea it was so glamorous, Tom. I think one of the things that really gets shortchanged is education, whether that means taking classes or reading books or whatever. I meet a lot of guys who are new in the industry, and I think, why aren't you spending 2 or 3 hours a night reading? Because you have to, actually, if you're going to learn this, and if you're going to learn it fast.
Yeah, I've been in a few rug plants, Tom, mainly because of Tom here, and I'm impressed with the operations and the details. If you don't go through a rug plant and see all the operation of it, you don't really know. And so you could make those mistakes. Okay, how about this one? Everyone wants to save money, and we know that real estate and rug cleaning equipment can be expensive, but can you do it on the cheap? And if you do, what happens? Who wants to start?
I can go.
Go ahead.
The short answer is sure. Yeah, absolutely. You can do it on the cheap. When I started my business, I didn't have a lot of fancy equipment, bucket and a scrub brush. And that works. You can actually do a decent job. The problem is it comes at the expense of time and energy. So the cheaper you get, is a general rule of thumb, the more time and labor it's gonna take. So you actually are inherently less profitable when you start trying to do things cheap and quick and on the fly. That's not to say you should just run out and buy the most expensive pieces of the equipment. You have to start somewhere. But things like the rug sucker, they work, they make sense. The problem is some of this equipment's not really scalable. So let's say you do a small volume in your wash plant and you have a rug sucker and it's working out, but all of a sudden you pick up a couple of commercial accounts and you've doubled, tripled, or quadrupled your business. What do you do with that rug sucker? You're stuck to a certain amount of time on your wash floor extracting out a rug. It's not an efficient model to be able to scale your business up. If that makes sense. So you can do things cheap on the fly, but understand there's a limit to those things before other people like Robert Mann have really figured out there's production equipment that make you a lot more efficient and profitable. So
Good.
Yeah, I think Randy's got it exactly right there. Let's put some numbers on it. If you're doing 800 or 900 square feet a week, something like that, you can do it on the cheap. And that's actually good revenue if you're doing retail in a city where the rates are high enough. But the minute you start going to 3,000 or 4,000 square feet a week, there's a huge break between the two. And it's almost impossible to do that kind of volume on the cheap, so to speak, not unless you had 20 guys standing out on the wash floor, and then it's not on the cheap anymore. It doesn't make any sense. Making that scale jump is very tough because it takes either credit or capital, and a lot of people haven't got that.
So
Tom, do you know anything about equipment?
Yeah, I agree with everybody's remarks there. So I think it distills down to what is your commitment to the business? Are you going to be someone that just has a side hustle, or you're a hobbyist, or is it going to really genuinely be a business? And so if that's going to be the case, then you got to do some pre-planning, anticipate your needs a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and let the business drive your purchasing decision should you want to scale up and get some automated equipment.
Good stuff. My next question was about training, but I think Robert covered that pretty nicely. Let's go to this one. You need customers, right? If you're a rug company, you got to have that steady flow of customers. Give us a broad spectrum view of how do we reach the right demographic and market to those people?
Well, I'm going to assume most of the people that are going to listen to this podcast are people that are cleaning wall-to-wall carpet. And so my first thing would be go back to your well of clients that you have an existing relationship with. That's the easiest one. And even for me, that's been a really good revenue source to just go back and retouch with existing clients. I don't have any hard numbers in front of me, but a much better return than, say, a blank postcard to a new client. So that's the first thing I would tell people. Second is engaging with people that are in the trade locally. This can be fire, flood restoration, retailers. Although saying that, it's a different market than it was 21 years ago when I started Renaissance. Everybody's out there doing that. And I even hear from retailers locally, they'll, a couple of times a month, they'll get cleaners that come in, try and pitch them their cleaning services. So that market's kind of dried up or become a lot more competitive. But between those are a good fundamental basis for a cleaning business. And, restoration companies even now are still doing a lot of rug cleaning. And so there's a certain amount of kind of hard currency, if you will, in that type of cleaning. Not necessarily the most profitable on a wholesale level, but that's the stuff that pays for the lights and the water bill.
Tom, I think you had something.
Yeah, when I started more seriously doing rugs, I cross-marketed to my carpet cleaning clients. And instead of walking over rugs to clean carpets, I realized I was walking on money. So that was the drive to get into the rug cleaning business. I already had a trust relationship with those clients that were giving the rugs to someone else. The other thing I would say too, if you're sitting in a sweet spot contemplating rug washing, the sweet spot would be this: a town that has a university, a medical center, and professional businesses, maybe some of the Fortune 500 companies. If you got that triangle of demographics, you're on your way to build a successful business, I believe.
Robert,
Yeah.
what about you?
Well, let me describe some stuff that we did here. We knew we had a market in our city, but out of curiosity, I started just sitting at a desktop computer and doing a lot of demographic research. You check all the zip codes in your city, you know which ones you think are more wealthy or less wealthy. You count up how many houses there are in those zip codes over $500,000. That's in our market at least. Obviously, house prices vary in different markets. And you start thinking to yourself, what's the potential pool? And I know that's an arbitrary figure, that $500,000, but actually we did research and we discovered that most of our customers do own houses that cost more than $500,000. That's for us because we're specialized rug cleaners and fixers. And if someone said to me, I'm going to start in a small Midwestern city, I'd say, sit down at your computer and spend a couple hours doing this kind of research and identify what the potential pool is. You know, if you have a town of 80,000 people and it's not a wealthy town, your chances of having a big enough client base to operate a rug washing plant are very slim, unless you got some magic up your sleeve. It's all free information and it's all right there on your computer.
Yeah, I know, Robert, when I visited your plant, you don't just clean rugs. You guys do a lot of things.
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
That sounds like a real company right there.
It's a real company. Yeah, I missed what you said. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, when I visited your plant, you guys do a lot more than cleaning rugs. I saw a lot more activity.
We restore rugs, we clean rugs, we buy them and sell them. And that's part of what's given us, you know, sort of longevity as a business, is that we've spread ourselves out. We do wholesale and retail as well.
Yeah. Randy, you do the same, some of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not on the scale that Bob does.
Yeah. Offering more services is great. Here's a good question for you. You know, if it costs money, a serious investment to get into the business, and you have a buddy who wants to do it too, should you partner up?
I've some of these things have gone really, really bad, and I wouldn't say no. I've never done it, but there's a lot of pitfalls there. I would probably suggest against it in terms of being in business together, especially if it's a friend. I'm trying to think of good examples where I've seen that happen, but I've known of a few where they've soured pretty quick.
Yeah.
Things don't go right.
Yeah, I think Randy's right. Although I will mention something, we use limited partnerships all the time. I invest in things like Navajo blankets or rugs that are more expensive than I want to buy, and I'll invest jointly with a dealer or two dealers or sometimes three dealers. I bring repair and cleaning, they bring the ability to sell, somebody else finds it, and it allows you to kind of consortiumize your money. And so in spirit, partnerships can be very powerful and very effective. The trick is maintaining individual partnerships on a real long basis, you know, like say running a rug business with another guy for 10 years or something like that. I've never done that, but I do see the value in a lot of partnerships or shared business cost type situations.
And partnerships are very much like marriage. You got a union of two imperfect people. And so you got to count the cost, whether or not they're really bringing something and you're bringing something back that justifies the existence. Otherwise, why don't you just hire somebody that will do what you thought your partner was going to do?
Great advice, guys. I tell you what, we're about out of time. I have several more questions and some from the industry as well. Why don't we do a second segment and we'll continue this conversation.